Thank you so much for joining us on Workers Forum. My name is Blessed, and you are welcome. All right, it's been a while, but we are looking at the late payment of salaries and the law. What is the law saying? Okay, so I don't know. It's more like of a coincidence that at the time we scheduled that we should have this topic, and we had civil servants delayed in salaries. President.
Yeah, that's common knowledge.
All right, so let me just introduce my guest tonight. He's the president of GRAMUZ, that's a grain, meat and allied union workers of Zambia, the president, Mr. Blake Mulala. Sir, welcome to the program.
Evening, Blessed, and greetings to our viewers across the country.
Beautiful. The number is on your screen in case you want to contribute or ask, or you have an issue you want clarified right here on this very platform. Okay, we'll give you a chance and make sure we read your SMSs right there. Now, President, the issue of late salary payment, I think this is a very, it's a big issue when it comes to, the labor circles. You've come across this several times and all that. When should salaries be paid?
Blessed, this subject is quite a touching subject, and I'm sure we have seen that it has become the order of the day where in most of the industries, not only in Zambia, maybe across the world, there had been an outcry for workers. The laborers are not being paid their salaries in time. I want to take you back to the first families or the people who lived on earth. We had Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and in that garden which God provided for them to live in, everything was free. They were to take care of that garden. But the moment when they disobeyed the law of God, they were vanished out of that garden. And God made it that you have to sweat, you have to till the ground for you to eat, for you to earn your living. You have to work extra hard. Out of your sweat, there will be some sweets coming out of it. And now when we come into when the economies begin to grow, or the coming in of economies, we realize that now that type of work which becomes to be the production is what forms up the economy, because where there is no production, you cannot talk of any economic growth. Now, in these difficult times, we expect the workers, when you work, you need to have a salary. And I wanted to answer your question before we come to there. Zambia is a Christian nation, and we were trying to ask from the Honorable Minister of Religious Affairs that is supposed to help us also in such kind of situations. When we see that there is an outcry of workers, we forget one ministry which is very cardinal. It's the Ministry of Religious Affairs. The fundamental book, which is the Bible, I want to quote it from the book of...
Maybe before you go there, I want to understand, when should the salaries be paid?
A salary for a worker, we want to answer it this way. According to the law, Zambia has got a law in place. Laws, not a law, which guides, regulates the industries. Our laws are very good. All what we need are not people who bend the laws. We need people who can reinforce the laws. According to the law which we have, if you have employed me to do a walking, I want you to be walking a distance of 100 meters per day. At the end of the 100 meters, I must be paid. This is how I'm going to answer you. If it's a weekly piecework which I'm doing, at the end of the week, if it's a fortnight, at the end of the fortnight, I should be paid. If it's a monthly, the last day of the month, I must get paid. In our case, the law speaks of it should not go beyond the 5th day of the month. The salary of the worker must be made available, because work has been done, and when work has been done, we expect the worker to get paid.
Okay. Now, a salary and a wage. I believe there's a quite a difference between the two, right?
It may not.
What is there any difference? Or is the same?
It may not be. There should be a slightly difference, but this is all together. When you talk of a wage, there are some other people who don't want to include some of the allowances which you are put into that. So we are getting you. This is your wage. The salary will always differentiate between the allowances which you are getting. It's classified, but the way you won't have this. It will be just this is your wage. So there is a difference between the salary and the wage.
Okay.
But these are all emoluments, money which you are getting at the end of
I think according to your according to example you've given, that you are taught to walk maybe for 100 meters for a particular period of time. At the end of that particular agreed distance, then you need to get paid. So
when are you paid? Yes. So
okay.
Any task which one is given to do, once that task is completed, one has to be paid for that.
Okay.
Okay. That's how it's supposed to be. And primarily, employers, they've got a primary obligation to pay salaries to workers. If you cannot pay them, why should you be called an employer? Tell me the reason why you should be called an employer if you cannot pay the people.
Okay.
Yes. So I was telling you that there's a Ministry of Religious Affairs. That Ministry of would you permit me now to go through the?
Please.
I want to go through the book of Leviticus chapter 19 verse 13. You shall not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of him who is hired shall not remain with you all night until morning. This is the word of God. A hired, biblically, a hired, the person who is hired here, this is an employee. The biblical language talks of a worker as a hired. You say a hired servant or a hired man. The Bible gave a direction to those who were masters by that time that if you hire somebody to come and do work for you, pay that person. You should not, the wages of that person you have hired, that employee, must not remain with you until the following morning. If you did that, when you read further down, it says, the hired shall not remain with you until the following morning. Okay? In case that employee will cry to the Lord and you commit a sin. This is where even the worldly governments are now trying to get these laws from the Bible, because the Bible is the foundation of everything. So if the Bible talks about such kind of a warning, I would love to go into even the book of Jeremiah 22 verse 13, where now it says, woe unto them. It has no kind wage for any employer or any master who keeps the wages of a person who has done the work for you. James chapter 5, we are not becoming the preach. This is not going to be like we are learning a Bible study, but these are biblical guidelines which we are being given. The book of James, the apostle James also spoke about it.
Okay, so Minister, the labor movement, I will include you as a trade union.
Yes,
because so basically you are drawing the labor laws from the Bible, right?
It's correct, yes.
Okay.
These are written from the Bible.
Okay.
The labor laws which we have, they are coming from the Bible.
Okay.
Okay? And then, possibly when we look at this, there are others. We are coming to, I think, the delayment in these payments of salaries. Why do we see people? We have heard about Azara, where the workers they went too long without being given their salaries. Then NBC, some time back, we saw them protesting. This is in common knowledge. It's just an issue of trying to check the records. Yes, that then NBC at one time the workers protested against it because their salaries were delayed. Now, if we are employers and then we don't pay the workers, what message are we sending out there? How are we going to value?
The economy is bad.
How are we going to value you as an employer who does not pay the workers? They have done the work, but they deserve to get what they worked for.
But before we come to that, President, according to your extensive experience in this particular field. What do you think is the cause of late of salary payments, especially in the private sector? Before maybe we touch the government, because we saw that happen.
You see, this is a general. Yeah. Actually, government has been a very good employers. Government has been very good employers.
Okay.
Except that administration changes. Okay. In the private sector, it's worse, and the government hasn't reached that stage.
Okay.
In the private sector, that's where we need to have sanity. There are some private firms, security firms, where employees, they are still being owed their salaries for July, May. Tell me, the government workers, we haven't heard of them maybe having arrears, but we have in this country private company in the private sector where workers are in arrears of 3 months. We heard the story about the National Housing Authority where workers went close to more than a year. That's inhuman. That's inhuman. So the causes to this, you are saying, what could cause this delayment? There are so many areas. Other people do it greedy. They may have borrowed much money and they want first to raise profit before they can pay the workers. That's one other area. The cash flow shortages which are within the organization because of misapplication of funds. And the others is the ignorance of the law which we have. Because we have a law in the country which prohibits an employer not to go beyond the agreed time when such employees are supposed to get their salary. So ignorance of the law by some other employers has made them to take this as business as usual, and they don't feel any impact of it. To them, they haven't committed anything. So the others, they don't have money. They are struggling to raise money, and this is what we call the cash flow shortages which they have, and maybe they have overspent. There are some companies where the larger chunk of the salaries is by top management, excessive salaries which they are getting at the expense of the majority of the workers. And by the time they realize that we have gone beyond what their wage bills is beyond what they can do, they delay. They delay. So there are two reasons only which I can give. Lack of knowledge on the provisions of the law when it comes to the wages of a worker, when are they due? And the two other people, it's lack of funds. They don't have money. And the company is limping. When the company is limping, you see, the last thing you expect is bankrupt and then it's liquidated.
Okay, just on that point, I think, let me bring it to startups. In this country, I think the government is doing its best to encourage entrepreneurship, the creation of SMEs, or should I say MSMEs, small, medium, and so forth. But basically, and these companies, you find that the revenue models are different from each other. For example, a TV station, we're into advertising. And if the economy is bad out there, you won't get a client to advertise. You gave an example, one media house delaying paying salaries. You see, I believe what could have caused that is maybe their revenue model was not really effective at that particular time due to the changes in economies. In your talk, you spoke about difficult times, the economy, of course, and all that. Don't you think all these things come into play before maybe we start pointing fingers at startups that you are failing to pay your workers on time, you are doing that, and you are doing, don't you see all this? Don't you put all these things first into consideration before maybe crucifying these companies?
While I agree with that idea which you are trying to bring up, I beg to not fully to agree with that. I want to give an example of one DC. That one DC impressed me. In the area where he is, that's in Kafue town. I have mentioned the town is Kafue. There is one company there which was struggling to pay the workers. Now, he is the one with that district. A chat which we had with him, he said, there is nothing which can be more devastating is for me as the person who is in charge. I'm here in this district and then I hear that the workers haven't been paid. It doesn't give me a night. When you are you have got a team which is working there, they must come up with the plans to find money. There's one minister who once said, I'm giving you 48 hours look for money and pay the workers. You have got a management team. They should be able to look for money to pay the workers. The issue of that company which we spoke about, they've got a lot of buildings here in Lusaka. Maybe the buildings which are being rented belongs to that organization.
Okay.
They couldn't pay their workers for 1 year. More than a year, they don't pay salaries for workers. Meanwhile, there's so many buildings scattered all over, they belong to them. Why can't they have part of the rentals of that money? Do you need somebody to come to say, no, you have to ask the president to come and intervene into this situation when he has put people in place who are supposed to use their brains to see what they can do? It's management style and leadership which is needed. That's what I should agree. You know, Blessing.
Yes, sir.
You see, this is a serious issue. The late payment of salaries, it has forced workers to incur debt just to meet their day-to-day needs. The moment when a worker is delayed to get the salary, human nature takes to think, how do they survive?
Rent.
That's the question.
School
How
fees.
do they, yes, look at those. How do they survive? So, most of the workers, it's heartbreaking to know that many workers are not able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The big chunk of their salaries goes to the interest payment on the debts incurred because their salaries are always delayed. Do you know that Kaloba? You know Kaloba? They call it Kaloba in the local. There's an interest there. Because the
Huge
employer,
interest,
yes, the
actually.
employer has delayed to pay the worker the salaries, and for them to fill the gap. You are talking about the landlord. I don't know whether we shall have a law which is going to regulate them, but that's their properties. The landlord will say, I need my rentals, they are due. Whether you have been delayed, that's your story. To me, I want my money. The headmaster at certain school says, oh, your child here is owing the school so much money in arrears. He wants it for the examinations, not even the mock examinations. When you're talking about this, there are so many responsibilities on that same worker. But now the result is going to Shylock, the money lender, to go and get money. And when that money is gotten, there is an interest, 50%. So when that salary comes, which has been delayed by the employer, it's a message to employers. These are the effects when you delay to pay the workers what they go through. They have to service that interest. It's like a country where you have Congola, you have gotten too much of credit now. You have to service that credit. There's an interest which you are paying. Normally, such kind of, we have challenges with that. So even at a personal level, a worker whose salary is delayed, you are forced because you need to meet the other needs. You need to feed the family. When that salary comes, it's being followed because it's only the interest. That money which you got from that man who has a chance to be giving Kaloba, you pay the interest. So this has caused most workers to live life as if they are not working. You spoke about the SMEs. Well, yes, those are there, but they cannot sustain. The real issue is where money is made available as to when the debt is due. The laws which we have in this country are very good. They say when it gives a guideline and a roadmap when the salary must be paid to the worker. This is the issue which has been neglected and it hasn't been reinforced very much. But we have the Employment Act with a clear guidance. The salaries of workers must, there is no compromise on that because that's what the law says. It's not our own creation, it's not our own imagination, but we are trying to interpret the provisions of the law which must be followed like any other law which we have. It's not just a law for stealing where when you steal they are quickly to arrest you, but there's a law also on the delayment of worker salaries. We should not see a situation where workers are protesting for delayed payment of their salaries. This is common in this country. Sanity must prevail to stop to bring this to an end. It's time that the provisions of our laws must be enjoyed by those who are supposed to be the beneficiaries of the law. Yes.
Now, President, let me understand. Can't a company not pay you on time? You got it right?
Yes.
Can't a company can a company not pay you on time? Should I put it like that?
There are quite good employers out there in the private sector and the companies. I can assure you that we have experienced a lot of good employers out there. In the midst of these good employers, we've got bad employers as well. But we have some other good employers within the private sector who pays even before month end. They're able to pay their workers. They are there.
So there shouldn't be any eventuality where this particular employer defaults. You know, okay.
I can give you.
If it's to be late, for how long should you consider that? Okay, this is we can understand this, but after this period, for how long can you say we can classify that the salaries are way? This is too much. You can cry for.
Can we go to the law maybe? Can we talk to our Employment Act, what it says?
Okay, please.
I want to go to the Employment Act, and this is the section 48 of the Employment Act. Any person who employs or continues in his employment an employee without intending to pay or without having reasonable grounds believing that he cannot pay the wages of such an employee or casual employee when they become payable, without reasonable excuse, fails on demand to pay in accordance with the provisions of section 48 any wages due to an employee or casual employee shall be guilty of an offense.
Okay, President, I think just hold your thought. We go to a quick break.
Okay.
Stay tuned for that. I know he's on fire. He has to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and you're live on Workers Forum. My name is Blessed, and my guest tonight, that's the president of GRAMUZ, the trade union, Mr. Blake Mulala. And we are looking at late salary payment and the law. What is the law saying? President, I had to, put you on hold a little bit for us just to, yes. So what is the law saying really concerning the late salary payment?
It's very disheartening in a country where there are laws which are supposed to be the guidelines. We still experience a situation where workers are protesting because they haven't been paid their salaries. We have got very good laws. Section 48 of the Employment Act actually gives even the only thing about our law is that it talks about shall be guilty of an offense. It doesn't give it's not prescribing what type of offense, what type of punishment which is supposed to be meted on such employers. But if we copy from the Kenyan, the Kenyan law, in Kenya, their Employment Act of 2007, actually, it empowers the employee to take the employer to court. When you go to Dubai, theirs is very strictly. They have to call first, the human resource has to give the reasons why they explain as to why the workers have not been given their salaries. From him, once the settlement is not clear, they would allow they will actually assist the employees, affected employees, to take the employer to court. And there are some more sanctions which they even, the employer, government will take some sanction on that employer. They may suspend business, and if there are some work permits which they get for other foreign workers, they will even suspend the license for them to be given acquiring of work permit for other expatriates. This is in the United Arab Emirates. These are the laws which our colleagues are applying. So we have the same laws. In Kenya, yes, they may have that provision to take to court. But in our case, we have a law which is a sleeping giant. Perhaps we need to awaken that law to make it great, to make it be felt. Because as it is now, some employers are not feeling it. But the law is there, which stops, which prohibits it. No employer must keep an employee. That's what I was quoting before we went on break. No employer is allowed. You know that you have got no capacity to pay the wages when we are supposed to do. But yet you are there pretending, and then you are keeping that employee in employment. Every day the worker is coming. You see, it's much better when you tell them that, look, I'm not able to pay you. I have no capacity to pay you. What is my plan? They would even write to me, maybe the Minister of Labour, tell them we are not able to. That's why we heard about redundancy going on, because they say they've got no capacity. So let's put some other workers, lay them off and pay them. Unlike where you keep a bulk of them, which is you want to keep people whom you cannot pay.
So,
our law is
don't
very
you
strong.
think-
It doesn't allow that.
Don't you think your advocacy on this, it's like encouraging to the creation of low wages especially in the private sector? Because look, if this company is not able to be paying, maybe to employ 30 people and be paid the 4,000, the 3,500 per individual, don't you think this encourages, the private sector to be paying low on them for them to keep them, at work? I don't know. What's your take on that aspect?
If an employer is failing to pay 687 kwacha as a basic pay to one of those security firms we know, and they are still in arrears since May, they haven't yet been given their money for May. When you are saying low, if the cost of living is still waiting again, say that I should remain stagnant, so that because a certain company cannot pay me, then the economy is being dictated by that employer who is not able. It can't work. That cannot work. The law does not know, because the moment once you become an employer, you are capable. I should not pretend to be who I am not.
So you become an employer,
I should
you are
be
capable.
yes.
Of paying. Oh.
Don't become an employer who is just a busybody employer, because you cannot pay the workers, and you just create misery to those workers. The law doesn't select that this one because no. It gives a guideline. If you want to be an employer, here is the law which we have. The workers in Zambia must be paid not later than the basis of some other contracts which they signed. It will even specify, like in the Kenyan law, it gives even the payday. It's mentioned into the contract that the salaries of an employee must be on such as stipulated
all contracts are
on the
mostly,
contract. The payday is there. The moment when an employer fails to comply with the provision of that contract, the employee are allowed to go to court and drag that employer to court.
Okay.
Even in the Zambian way, it's possible to drag them to court because they have broken the law which we have. The salaries of an employee, when are they due? The Employment Act is very, very clear. There's no guesswork about it. It's not like we are reading a novel. It's just section 48, 55 to give us the offense. How many have committed it? Our courts today are going to be full of prosecuting these employers who have flouted the labor laws. But what we lack are actions. We need actions. Okay.
Can that war be won against?
Yes, it
the
can.
employers?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
This war can be won.
All right. So now coming to the impact, I believe there are certain effects, or a series of effects generated from this? Anything you can touch?
It's the economy.
Okay.
The economy won't grow. If most of the workers who are the players in the economy are not happy, you want to be keeping them after they've given you their labor, and then make them wait for what is due to them. Even in Jesus' time, he told the disciples, they thought like being with Jesus, they cannot pay what was due to Caesar. Master, are we? Just told them, check that coin. Who is there? So give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Now, in this case, when a worker is a contract of, I'm going to give you my service, and in turn, we shall pay you for the service which you have given us. This is the contract which we enter in. Failure to pay workers in time, the effect of that, the economy is not going to grow, because the players in that, they will tend to be not giving more. You have heard of people working, especially in the public service. He's running this business there, he wants to be knocking off so fast that where he's getting money, that's where he's going to pay particular attention. If he's a teacher, he would have some private tuitions where he's teaching. You may stop them, but you can't, because they will always have that provision to say that this is where I'm getting money. 17, 16, before knocking off already, the people there are waiting for money where he's getting. What are they going to do? A doctor, they will leave the patients. And other than that, it's the same issue of saying the workers are going to feel the effect of it, because one, their morale, where there is no more boosting of morale for the workers, production will be affected. Production will go down. And where production is going down, there is no growth. Where there is no growth, the economy cannot grow, because the economy, the way it runs, there are so many players in the economy. And this is part of the other players who are playing a vital role in the private sectors. And if you combine that, the workers both go in public and they are delayed, and then the morale goes down, our economy cannot grow where the players are not motivated. The other reason is no worker can go and work on an empty stomach. I think everybody knows that. You can't allow a worker to go, the stomach is empty, then you work on that empty stomach. It's not possible. No. Okay? In other cases where you delay, there will be increased rate of stealing. People will be stealing, yes. Some people say, well, I come to understand that the environment which they create for you lead us not into temptation by delaying to pay the workers. They are working in a bakery where they make buns. And then you delay to pay them their salaries. Please, lead them not into temptations, because they will steal the buns to fill the...
Okay.
to fill that gap. Yeah. It's not their wish, no. They had no intention. But because you are leading them to commit that crime. So, I think these are some of the effects which we have, which will have a negative impact on the economy, because the workers are not motivated. Okay. And they are not putting the best into the work.
Now, as an expert in the labor, in the fight of, the better conditions of workers in this sector, what is the recommended action, according to you, as the president of a trade union?
As a trade unionist, we have looked into our labor laws. I was looking at the Employment Act, and it only says any person who contravenes the provisions of Section 48 shall be guilty of an offense. I've checked the labor laws in other countries. There is seriousness which is taken, because this is the sector where we have the workers. And all the eyes must focus on trying to motivate the workforce. We need to have a bill in Parliament which will penalize employers for delayed salaries. And when we say employers, we are talking about both in the government and the private sector employers. Any employer who employs labor, if we put a bill in place seeking to prohibit late payment and non-payment of, when you talk about, it's not only salaries, what about the pensions? Those who have already worked, they have retired. Are they not asking for their pension to be paid, that they are now have to sing songs, always sleeping in the code? What about the people, their contracts come to an end, but they are not, there's non-payment of their gratuity, they are still waiting, and other emoluments. So we need a law which will prescribe the penalties for violation, both government and private sector employers. And this bill will ensure that every employer of labor complies. If they don't comply, there should be some penalties which are prescribed. Not only ending at saying, no shall be guilty of an offense. Which offense? It ends there when you look at it.
And
So
it doesn't say
it
what
doesn't,
happens to...
no, it doesn't. It says
Okay.
it shall be guilty. So
Of an
we
offense.
need, if this law, that's why laws are dynamic. We cannot keep on a law, clinging on to a law which was made some time back and then thinking to address the issues of our present time. We need to amend it and make it more simpler. The best way is pushing it as a law in Parliament. Once it comes in, this will take care of any employer. And now, employers will be able to comply. And this law, like we have made, you know, we have got good laws in this country. What we lack is implementation of the laws. There's a law which was coming through the local, it is the local authority, SI number 10 of 2018, which prohibited the cooking of food and selling of food on the streets. When you walk around, you find the people are busy
Doing the sausage.
flying in on the streets, and
Yeah.
that law is in place. So a law must be able to be felt by those who are supposed to be beneficial to that law. So all what we need to have is a law which you can address this issue. And once that law is in place, there should be now willingness by those who are in those offices to enforce the law. If the trade union, the labor movement comes in and work with other stakeholders, the issue of delayment of salaries for the workers can be sort of the past. Let the courts be ready to prosecute because they have broken the law. The way it is, like we have said, it does not give the penalties. Shall be guilty of an
Guilty of
offense.
an offense. So now, as a worker, you know, your salary is delayed for more than 5 days, because it's like you said, 5 days is, you know, the grace period. And you are allowed to go and approach your employer to ask if maybe there are reasons why you haven't gotten your payment.
You are asking that question, blessed. You are forgetting that there's one HR who was flashing yellow cards when the employees were going to ask for their salaries.
Now, have you seen where
Have
it comes
you-
back
okay.
again, where
Yellow cards were
employers-
being
employees
flashed.
tend to keep quiet?
So that's where we need now strength from the Ministry of Labor. We need a new approach to bring sanity from the Ministry of Labor, so that people must obey the laws, regardless of their political affiliation. There are some people within the parastatals who are, because I belong to this political party, they feel like they can bend the law. The law does not know any political affiliation. There is no name or say this I belong to this party, no I'm this whatever, I know this, nothing. If the law will be applied equally, fairly, we should not be having cases where when the union leader goes to complain that the workers are complaining about within the provisions of the law to speak on behalf of the workers. As a HR, I don't know which school they went to, where when workers are coming, you flash a yellow card of give that person a warning letter for coming to my office to ask about salaries. It's a provision of the law. Actually, to make the law very strong, trade unions must even take it up, where they can sue the employer to court that this law has been broken. And based on the provision of this law, we want the courts to give interpretation of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, President. And now let me allow you to respond to a few queries we
Okay,
have.
okay.
Transmission, please, can we have the SMSs? That one says, I'm Moses from Dola and I'm working at Magnum Security. Now the problem is we don't even know the pay day. Maybe this month they can give us on 25th, the 30th, the 1st, the 2nd, the 5th, blah, 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 blah. Wow. Okay. Moses from Dola. This one says, please help us. It's too much late payment in Mukushi. We suffer a lot. Okay. That one coming from Mukushi there. Okay, this one says, why police officers become very active and victimize workers when they protest peaceful, like here at Tazara. We seem to have a series of events at Tazara.
Police officers becoming, they are also
Very active when people are protesting and all that. So this one says, are you including the farmer? Up to now, they are not yet paid. Okay, I'm sure. This one says, hello, good evening. I'm enjoying that topic. Now, I just want to know why some companies are still not registered their workers to NAPSA. Why? Please, we are... Okay, I don't know what that one for. You can help us. We are sweating for nothing. Okay, means sweating for nothing. That one says, on government side, is the government have trustworthy source of income to pay its workers rather than tax and revenue collection? Okay, I don't know whether you'll be able to respond to that. Yeah, this one says Wangwa District Council workers are having 2 months arrears, July and August, while central government workers are updated. What is the government doing on this? Right. Okay, this one says, please, KCM top management have huge abnormal salaries. Why? I don't know, I think you can respond to that. Okay, so I'll allow you to respond to that. I'll give you a few minutes, President.
Yes. Government, we want to respond to that because he talks about the police officer. What type of protesting are the workers engaged in? Okay. There is a protesting where the workers become violent, and we don't encourage that. There is no way when you are protesting you want to destroy properties. The law of the police is to maintain law and order and protect lives and property.
Okay.
So I think in a place where workers become a little bit more violent, the police are called in to maintain order, but not beat the workers. Okay. I should agree to that. The one who is asking for payday, as to when are they supposed to pay, different companies have got their different payroll calendar that I want to really... What is serious is to allow a worker to go over a month, enter into the second month, they are not paid their money. That's serious. It's abrogation of the law. The other one, Tazara, the issue of Tazara, government has promised to source funds for them to be paid their salaries. And we have a union there. I don't know how that could be done. KCM, huge salaries, exploitation by the management. How they pay their salaries compared to the worker, we wouldn't comment because KCM is a different entity altogether. But where the other person spoke about NAPSA, the employer does not. If you are listening, you see, you help yourself to be helped as well. If your employer does not remit your contribution to NAPSA, you as an affected worker, you can call NAPSA on a toll-free line. They are on 677. Get that number, 677. And if you want to find out whether the employer, for those who are listening to this program, if your employer does not remit your contributions, you dial star 677 hash, enter your NRC number. If nothing happens, please, it's a serious offense under the NAPSA Act for any employer to operate minus this. It's a different topic, I think, which we had some time back on this program. So if the employer does not do that, it's a serious offense. And if you are listening tomorrow, find time to report your employer to NAPSA. They want to know you, because what we have fear too much that they will catch me by the number who called you. No, they don't do that. Just dial 677, report it to NAPSA, tell them I'm calling you from is it Magnum, whichever company, I don't know which company is mentioning. I'm a farmer from this area. My employer, mention the names, not where you just give it without knowing that people, because they need to know the employer's name. Then the penalties, I think, be taken against that employer.
Thank you, President, for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Quite insightful. Thank you so much. This is Workers Forum. Actually, we're looking at late salary payments and the law. My guest tonight, that's the President of GRAMUZ, Mr. Blake Mulala. Bye-bye. See you next time, Tuesday. Keep it at it.